Women of Reddit, what are some tips on eating pvssy? Slow the ever-loving faft down. You're licking a clitoris, not sanding a boat. I wonder if the misunderstanding is because jerking off is usually a fast tempo, so it's assumed to be the same for lady bits. I think a lot of the technique used in porn is no good, and to blame for all the shabby, substandard oral I've ever had. As soon as a guy starts licking me, I can immediately tell that he has been watching porn, and that's where he got his ideas from. It's sad and misguided. I used to spend years teaching guys how to lick me out, and it was always worth it, especially in a long-term relationship. But I'm older now and couldn't give up. I've got my vibe and can just have a fap whenever. When a guy sucks hard and pulls, stretches my clit, I just sigh and think, for fev's sake, here we go again. Don't just attack the clit. Go around the clit too. Go near it, or lick it at an angle, and very softly. Take your time. Think of the orgasm as a skittish and elusive cat, and you have to draw it out and coax it slowly. You can't just chase after it and expect it to happen right away. Also, if she says, right there, or keep going, it does not mean go faster and favk it up. Literally do exactly what you're doing. To be fair, there's a bit of a time lapse that makes the right there instruction more difficult to follow. I love cunnilingus, but I have to be honest, there's a fair chance that, between my tongue hitting the right spot, or doing the right thing, and her communicating that it has, my tongue is no longer exactly where it was or doing exactly what it was when she had the thought. It makes it extra tricky to use that verbal communication as the cue, which makes the nonverbal communication super important to take note of. This doesn't make it any less likely that I get the climax out of her that I'm aiming for. It just means I have to be extra attentive. The clit is the quarterback, and you're a defensive lineman or DB. You'll never get at the QB by cutting up the middle, especially if he's an elusive one who is comfortable scrambling. Your best bet is attacking the left or right tackles on either end of the offensive line. We'll call them the labia to collapse the pocket on the clit, I mean the QB, but you can occasionally drop back and draw out the QB because it looks like an opening. That's when you charge forward and punish the QB. I keep this game plan on my hand like George Costanza. 2 swirls counterclockwise and the all-important twist. That's one of my favorite parts. The making my way down, gently kissing around it, then very lightly on it in several places, then finally flattening the tongue against it, and giving it a very slow, very wet lick upward towards the clit, using the whole tongue at last. The satisfaction of hearing that first sigh, groan, is unbeatable. Dudes who don't eat pvssy are chumps. Harder is not always better. Start soft, and then maybe add some pressure if your lady friend wants it. Start like a butterfly landing on a rose petal. Finish like a bulldog eating porridge. Yes, the clit is sensitive. Real-life women don't want to be eaten out like they do it in porn. Slow, soft, and gentle, and build speed as you go. Switch it up from licking to sucking, but stay gentle. It's like licking a Tootsie Pop, but you're not in a rush to get to the center. My girlfriend likes rough, direct contact on her clit, and she can chain orgasms. She's equal parts tough and sensitive. The funny thing is, she thought all women could do the same thing. She's bi, and a number of her female partners would come and then immediately roll over and fall asleep. She had no idea women could be one-and donors. She just thought they were selfish lovers, which they were, but still. A common trait I've found among women I've slept with is that many assume that all other women's bodies work like theirs. I've had girl tell me that penetration orgasms are a myth because she couldn't achieve orgasm without clitoral stimulation. I got in a drunk argument with a woman who was adamant that no women, anywhere, enjoyed giving blowjobs. That literally 100% of women everywhere considered it a chore. As a guy, the best you can do is have a checklist of foreplay and positional techniques. Pay attention to what works, make changes on the fly to lock into the correct tempo, pressure, etc., and then use after pillow talk as an opportunity to do a recap and ask about what worked, what she enjoyed or didn't, etc. Then factor that in the next time. Should be like writing an essay. Once the teacher lets you know what they want, do that, and variations of that. All parties are teachers. All parties are students. Every essay is not the one before, or the one to come, but the one in this moment. Try to write well, oh, and if you get into that argument again, up anti-angel grapefruit technique. Tell me she ain't having fun. Enthusiasm is at least 70% of being good at it. Nobody likes to feel like they're the two peas you're eating because you have to get dessert. This is one of those falsehoods that keeps getting passed around forever because it sounds good. If you're with someone who knows what she is doing, she can be bored as fuck, and it's still going to be better than someone enthusiastically slobbering all over you with no idea what notes they are trying to hit. My girlfriend doesn't like giving them so much, but will on occasion. But oh my god, I have never had a better one from anyone else. I'm not even sure what it is she's doing differently, but it makes me want to eat her like a 3-scoop ice cream cone. It tastes and smells anything but fun, but the pleasure you give feels awesome. If you and your girl aren't freshening up a bit before, then you're doing it wrong, although a bit of a tart, bitter taste can be normal regardless. My experience bears that out. Plenty of girls I've been with had a bit of the old bleach effect on older pairs of underwear. However, either secretions of the mixing in or saliva makes it not very noticeably acidic after a couple of minutes, so for those who find that initial tartness off-putting, note that it doesn't stick around if you do. This 100% also applies to men getting oral. My so would ask me if I'm about to come after a few minutes, so I eventually just stopped having her do it. She's under the impression that I don't like it, but the truth is, I just can't get enjoyment from it if she's doing it just to check off a box. I know a lot of people who say, well, you should communicate that to her, but the way I look at it is talking about that isn't going to make her like it. I don't want her pretending to like it either. It is what it is. Of course, it does, but I have had only 1 or 2 partners that want equal treatment and do not expect a parade for their trifling 2 licks after they told me they are all about eating it like they are going to die, without apparently these men are misled about something, because that was not life-saving desperate to eat at the pvssy eating. 1 or 2 that finish what they start or even actually care what I want, and since my divorce from my first partner, I have had many dudes make the absolute least amount of effort. You got to go to different places. Plus, I was a quick learner. I had time with a woman who knew what she wanted and was willing to teach her man how to provide some simple techniques. I was a quick learner. Those techniques, listening, going slow and easy, hot breath and delaying, seemed to work well. I am an old guy now, and those are just fond memories of my youth. Do you ever wonder why people say, oh God, I'm calm? Is that feeling of ecstasy a spiritual experience? A connection with a high power maybe? You need to be into it. Some enthusiastic dirty talk one-liners that I like being told when I'm being eaten out, like saying to girls I'm going down on. This is making me so wet. God, you're so hot. This turns me on so much. You taste amazing. I'd do this all day. I want you dripping down my chin. I want you to come in my mouth. I want to lick every inch of you. Please take your time, I'm loving this. I love how you feel in my mouth. Also, any occasional light moans letting me know you like eating pvssy. Pulling hips into face. Pulling away and biting your lip. Heavy breathing. In the hot Yule way, lol, not the creepy way, etc. Is all extra affirmation. Use your whole tongue. Eat the whole pvssy. Wrap your arms around the legs. Make her feel like you want to be there. I think this goes for any kind of oral regardless of gender. Having the performer be authentically enthusiastic is a total turn-on. I think this applies to the person receiving oral as well. Whenever I'm getting a BJ, I am enjoying myself, no doubt, but I put in quite a performance of how amazing it is and how much I like it, which in turn creates a positive feedback loop and gets me a better, more enthusiastic BJ. Everyone has a better time because of it. But with fellatio, I would caution to approach enthusiastically in spirit, but very gently and slow in execution, at least the first time. Then increase the physical enthusiasm only when you get positive cues from your partner. Either you discuss it, they tell you what to do, or it's pretty obvious through non-verbal communication. Some guys really like those super aggressive professional porn style blowjobs, but you should never bank on that being the case unless you know for sure. I'm not into those choking, gagging, slobbery blowjobs that seems to be popular in porn. My ex assumed I would be, and she quite literally bruised my dick the first time she gave me head. I don't even know how she did it, but it did not feel good. I really appreciated the thought, but the next time, I had to tell her to take it easy and basically teach her how to give what I consider to be a normal BJ. The instructional aspect was actually really hot, but my dick would have appreciated if we started off that way. So many people get caught up in the how portion of how do I do well, which really truly depends on your partner and even each partner's mood. The same couple that was using whips and chains last night might have a slow and sensual session the next time. I think the more nuanced and important part is how do I create an environment that allows for instruction without it being clinical, because you're right. Instructing someone on what you like can be really why, if you and your partner do it right. I always prefer when my hubby goes down on me in the middle of, because he's so horny and so into it. It's like he's starving, and it's amazing. When he goes down on me after he's finished though, because he is adamant I need to finish properly too. He's really methodical and clearly has no energy for it. It's just not the same law. Girlfriend just like the tongue itself. I like to bury my whole mouth, and she takes away my hands when I try to wrap arms around both legs, so I'm lost as what to really do. That's the thing, she won't open up, just tell me to do, and complains that I am not doing it right. A little feedback and guidance would be appreciated. I really enjoy going down on her, but just wish she would communicate and tell me how to go about it. As you have stated, it's different with every woman. It's true. Women are stubborn, and it can be difficult for them to trust and believe that they are good enough for you. As strong and confident as we like to come off, it's just such an intimate thing. It takes a lot of time to break down that wall. Don't give up though. There may be other ways to help her trust you. That is, there may be other communication opportunities to help her understand how much you care about her, find her attractive, etc. If she's moving, don't follow her. You're half an inch off target. She's trying to help you. Also, if you know anatomy-wise that you're right smack dab center on her clit and she's guiding you elsewhere, it doesn't mean you had it wrong. It might just be that for her, stimulating the visible part of the clit isn't what gets her there. Remember, the clit is built like a tiny penis. Stimulating just the head isn't going to get every guy there. If you roll the clitoral hood between your fingers, you'll be able to feel the shaft of her clit. For some women, stimulating the shaft is just as important as stimulating the tip. She may not know she likes it until it happens. Start with some soft taps and ask if she likes it, then go from there, tapping harder and making sure it's still working for her. If not, dial it back to the comfort zone and you're golden. Basically, just because she's not telling you she likes something doesn't mean she won't. Always be willing to experiment, but do so safely. I think you make an important point that often gets left out of these conversations. Never mind slapping specifically. Many people don't know what they like, let alone how to describe it, or even what the options are for what they could try and like. Also, preferences change slowly over a lifetime or even minute to minute depending on their state of being. Whether they're overstimulated, distracted, hormones being at a different level through the month, where they're at mentally, etc., on and on. So check in, and don't feel weird if you like something before and find you don't right now. So, yes, play and discovery are a huge part of healthy, satisfying, and I think we can be patient, open, and encouraging with each other and ourselves regarding communication. Accept and embrace that we're never not learning. I do sense a tone of judgment that comes up on this topic, where people are frustrated when their partner doesn't tell them exactly what they like, the way they want to hear it. But in reality, we aren't only learning what each other likes and how to do the thing real good, but also discovering how to even know what we like, let alone how to verbally, non-verbally communicate about it, all at the same damn time. Long story short, yes, communication, but also patience, curiosity, and as always, explore together towards what feels good and wanted for both parties at each encounter and throughout. Safe and happy facking, y'all. Just like every body is different and fine, you're allowed to like certain types of bodies, And that is fine too. The way most people look is what most people will be attracted to. And for people who look a bit different than the average, there are people who really like that specific difference. You don't need to appreciate everything. Just appreciate the things you find beautiful, and I promise that there's other people who will appreciate the rest for you. My lady loves when I circle it and tease her. Very light pressure, almost none at all. Just graze it when I pass it every once in a while. Kiss all around, everywhere, but don't focus too much on the spot at first. Just circle it and enjoy and let her go crazy. Then when the time is right, hold her tight and ravage it, but you have to build up to it. And it's best when she tries to writhe and pull away because it's too intense. Just lighten pressure for a little but keep the rhythm, then grab her tight again and finish her. To add to this, some women are extremely sensitive on the clit and don't enjoy the hyper-stimulation of direct contact. I had one instance where a partner described direct stimulation as how us dudes feel after an orgasm. Uncomfortably sensitive. Was the easiest tongue punching ever though. Literally just rubbing the outside of her lips around the clit would suffice for orgasms. As well as sorry for details, doggy style. Just the pressure was stimulation enough for her. Seriously, just say something if you want your partner to adjust. The thing is, you could have been on a good spot, but now it's overstimulated. Or the good spot can be hard to find. Instead of listening to the advice on the thread, you want to correct women on how to help you find it. But the thing is, sometimes you have to find it working around a little. And as someone else said, it can be taxing and awkward to be like, higher, little higher, too high. Okay, little to the left. And now circles. That's very helpful for you, but can be very distracting for us as we are trying to concentrate on actually being able to orgasm, because it's really not as easy for a lot of us women. It's really tough when a lot of us have to try to keep ourselves focused on the sensation, or not let intruding thoughts in, and then have to give directions. Also use fingers. Tongue goes on the clit, general vulva. 2 fingers inside. Lightly apply upward pressure on the G-spot about 2 inches in and up. The G-spot is anatomically part of the clit, so what you're doing is stimulating the head of the clit with your mouth, and the rest of the structure with your fingers. If you're in the right position, you can also apply downward pressure on the lower end of the abdominal region to further stimulate the internal structure of the clit, so you're hitting it from 3 directions at once. Really, get to know the anatomical structure of the clit, vagina, and you'll be better than 75% of men, even if you don't have any other experience. People act like women are these mysterious creatures, and you have to unlock magic spells and wrist movements to please them. But really their anatomy is not that complex, and you just have to take the time to understand it. Lesbian here. Start slow with easy pressure, like I'm talking really gentle, and build up until you find the pressure your partner reacts most to. Listen to her body, like if she is writhing faster, go faster. She's writhing slower, go slower. If she's pushing into you, go harder, etc. Listen to her voice too. Gotta know your partner on that one. Don't be afraid to use your whole face. The tongue alone gets sore and cramped after not that long. Also, don't lick like you're licking a lollipop. Imagine you want to lick up the middle of your whole hand from wrist to fingertips. You start at the wrist, right? Well, at that moment, where is your nose? Should be around where your palm is. Do the same thing when eating pvssy, tongue down low near the vaginal opening. Up. Use the nose against the clit and bring up the chin too. Careful with the pressure. Beard stubble can be an issue sometimes too with the chin. Like seriously. Don't be afraid to get your whole face wet. Enjoy the taste and experience, and literally get into it. Nothing will turn a woman on more than if the partner eating her pvssy is facking into it so much. Last tip. Gentle sucking around the clit is often a winner. How? Stick the top of your thumb in your mouth and gently. The clit is very sensitive. Suck it with an airtight seal. Feel that pulling sensation. That feels amazing on the clit. Make an airtight seal with your lips around the clit, and give a little suck here and there. Happy feasting. Ask, how do you like to be touched? If they're too shy to tell you, please start very gently. Don't assume hard pressure is the way to go until you've run through lighter to harder, faster to slower, etc. be aware that we aren't all built the same. I find the heavy pressure and heavy touching other women enjoy really painful. The more lightly you touch me, the more I can actually feel what you're doing to get turned on by it. My input: for the love of all that's holy, don't skip the sensitive, tender inner thighs, and tease with your hot breath, but avoiding a direct touch to the clit until we quiver greedily and wetly. Mercy. Great point about the inner thighs. I love when guys give attention the whole area and not just the clit and vag. Touching, kissing, licking all different areas as a tease to the main course, especially if they take their time, really helps get me in the right mindset, rather than the okay, can I concentrate hard enough to have an orgasm right now? Perhaps not for all, but I also like some light nipple pinching too. The more of my body that feels stimulated, the more into I get. Don't use too much pressure, and don't go too fast. Use a flat tongue, not the tip of your tongue. Don't switch things up too much. Find one technique that she likes, and stick with it until she's done. When she's in the middle of orgasming, slow things down to extend the orgasm. If you go too fast, her orgasm will be over too quick. Don't stop until she literally pushes you away. I'm a lesbian, so I might be able to help. No woman is alike, so you should try to ask her what she's into. I'm sure you can find a way to do that. Use your whole tongue and your fingers, but only if she agrees to being penetrated. For some, the stimulation is too much. For others, it's too little, which is what vibrating toys are for. Don't focus on the clitoris too intensely, as she might not find that too pleasant. Then again, some women do, so watch her body's response to what you do, and when in doubt, don't be too shy to ask. If it takes time, don't make her feel bad about it. Not all women come quickly and have fun. Nailed it out of the gate based on my experience. Each woman I've been with has wanted something different. I was with a woman who wanted her clit absolutely hammered with quick flicks of the tip of my tongue while I used 2 fingers inside her. I was with a woman that preferred I favk her with my tongue and gently rub her clit with my finger. I was with a woman once that told me that oral did absolutely nothing for her, she just wanted penetration, except for a little foreplay. My wife currently wants me to make out with her pvssy like young lovers kiss, and when she gets into it a little more, it's 2 fingers inside, gentle pressure upward, giving her full finger-length strokes while I suck and lick gently on the clit. Haven't had 2 women the same yet. Start slow. Try to soften your tongue, so it's not all pointy and hard. The clitoris is a wonderful thing, but it's super sensitive. It will hurt if you're not careful. After a while it's okay. Listen to your partner and look how their body reacts. I personally hate the big slurp noises some people ma. Please don't drink me, or at least do it quietly. Having an orgasm that way is hard for a lot of us. Please be patient. Don't be in a hurry. Mind your teeth. Don't quit after 5 minutes or pout if we can't come. If your partner likes it and give you consent, using your fingers and stimulating the clitoris from the inside really helps. I'm an experienced woman in my early 30s. I can tell you that porn is the worst place. Look for basic skills. Good job asking for advice. I firmly believe in demystifying the female orgasm and closing the orgasm gap. So, as uncomfortable as this may be for some in a public forum, here goes. The clitoris has varying levels of sensitivity within the entire area. Every woman needs to be touched differently. You should learn what speeds and finger movements she prefers first during your first kissing session. Even if this is a casual thing purely based on there should be foreplay. Without foreplay, she'll be drier, and you'll be doing her a disservice. Tune into her breathing and her noises. Use the noises she makes to gauge what movements she is enjoying. Generally change up your tongue movements and speed until she tells you yes, or don't stop, or something clearly enthusiastic like that. A real female orgasm will either include clear, thin fluid, creamy thick fluid, or her clit will be pulsating. Sometimes both. Please don't respond to this comment as I am embarrassed, but best of luck.